What is up, guys? We are back with another episode of the Danny DeBrito podcast. I'm your host, Danny DeBrito, and I want to thank you first and foremost for taking time out of your day to dedicate to your personal growth and development. Now, today we're going to talk about what exactly there is to gain from working on yourself. A lot of times there's some very obvious metrics that you can use if you're working on your personal fitness goals. For example, you can look at your weight gain or your weight loss or your muscle growth or how much you're going up in weight at the gym. There's some very easy ways to track your personal growth, and you can assign numbers, numerical values to those things. So it's a little bit easier to look at. But there's some other parts about personal development that when you're doing all these different things, I talk about the five pillars of health to work on, your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and financial. When you're covering all five of those bases, there's a lot of different things that you'll experience that are beneficial to your life that might not be just a hard number or a hard value that you can look at and say, okay, I lost 5 pounds or I gained 5 pounds in muscle, so on and so forth. And so one of those things happened to me today. And I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story about this situation that came up today where I really realized the benefits of the work that I've been doing on myself. It's a lot of work to be covering all these five areas of health, right? It's not a small commitment. And on a couple of my last episodes and recently on Instagram, I've been promoting the benefits of doing a walk in the morning, waking up at 6 in the morning, getting out into the sunlight, moving your body, and then taking time to meditate, read, do all these things that are beneficial to you. And that they're worthwhile, but people may not understand why they're worthwhile. So that's what I want to talk about today. And so there was a situation that came up in my day job actually, where just for a little bit of background, I'm a consultant for infrastructure projects. So I work on projects in California specifically, highways, bridges, transportation improvements, and I help those projects make their way through the environmental review and clearance and permitting and all those kind of things. And so it's always very schedule oriented. My work, I do project management, so it's always very schedule and budget, and you have to track those things extremely closely. And so today in my job, something came up which was a complete curveball. And it was something that completely could bust our schedule wide open and throw the whole project off course. And it would have been my fault if it had gone wrong. And so when I was diving into this, I got this email at 7 something this morning, and it completely threw my day off on a totally different course, on a different tangent than I ever would have expected. I had my plan about what I was going to get done today. I had my little routine set up, and then I got this email. And so I had to completely pivot to put out this fire, right? And so, I was looking at this situation with a different lens today. In the past, when these kind of things would come up, it would hit me like a pit in my stomach, like my heart would drop into my stomach and I would feel like everything is ending, like the world is about to collapse. It's all my fault. I need to get my boss on the phone. I need to call everybody and apologize for this big fuck up. And I just had a really kind of defeatist approach to difficult situations in the past. And I noticed today when this thing came up, and I've noticed it recently in a couple other situations, I had a really different response. My response was really solution oriented. And my first thought was not to just kind of tuck my tail and run or put my head down and kind of accept defeat in this case. It was more like, all right, let's take a breath. Let's take a moment to assess the situation from all different angles. Who said what to who and what chain of communication happened in the past? Can we trace that back? Can we get to the source of the issue? Can we attack this problem from all possible angles and try to see it from different perspectives? And even though this was still very stressful, the stress never really goes away when the fate of a project or the fate of something that you're working on is all on your shoulders. Um, the whole approach that I went through, the methodology was just a smoother process. And it's not something that I've actually necessarily worked on specifically with this kind of approach, but I connect the dots and I realize that this has a lot to do with the work that I'm doing on myself. And so people ask, what are you going to get from all this? What are you going to get from morning walks, from reading, meditating, working on yourself, going out into nature, all of these things, like what exactly is the end result? And The truth is there really is no end result. We have to learn to enjoy the journey. We have to learn to enjoy every single moment of, this life that we're granted with, and the ups and downs are included in that. And so I was thinking about how important it is to really lean into those moments of stress, of strife, when people are coming after you, when, your job or the project is on the line, and it's, everything is kind of swirling around you. You're caught in the eye of the storm. Those moments, you have to really lean into them, because that's where the growth happens. And this attitude I've adopted because of all the work that I've done on myself. I've learned that to get where I want to go in life, I need to lean into those uncomfortable moments. I need to embrace discomfort, because once you get through discomfort, you get to your end, you get to your objective. And a lot of times the discomfort is a sign that you need to focus on those things even more. you know, Doing difficult workouts, doing, reading books that are harder, pushing you a little bit out of your comfort zone. These things are always a little bit like they're the exact opposite of what you want to do in that moment. And today, when I had that difficult situation come up, it just struck me how I was able to pivot to a different mindset. And when you're able to shift into different ways of thinking and in a different mindset on command, that is a sign that you're doing something right. That is a sign that you are flexible in the way that you approach life. You're not too rigid, you're not too one track minded, and you're not going to just accept defeat at the first sign of something going wrong. And so, I thought about this and I was like, this is actually it. This is why I do what I do on a daily basis. This is why I'm waking up in the morning and, working on myself and trying to cultivate peace of mind, is so when some shit really does go down, like what happened today, where it had a potential to completely break me, break the project, and like really cause an issue, um, I'm able to look at those problems with a solution oriented mindset. And this doesn't come from just a night of work. It doesn't come from a week of work or a couple months of work. This comes from consistent focus on becoming a better version of yourself, and a consistent focus on shifting your mindset. It's not all focused on the numbers, right? Like what I talked about in the beginning. You can't just focus on the things that you can measure. A lot of times it's things that are not going to reveal themselves to you until years down the line, until you've been working and those things come up, and then you're prepared for that situation. Until you've been thrown into that fire, you're not going to realize those benefits of personal development. So that's all I got for you guys today. When these moments come up, when tough moments come up, what I would recommend is to take 5 deep breaths before you hit the panic button. Take 5 deep breaths just to calm your nervous system down, to think clearly, think about the problem from all different angles. Don't just think about it from your own frame of mind, like this is gonna destroy my life, this is gonna destroy my career, or oh my God, I'm gonna be in so much trouble, or damn, I didn't make this sale, like everything is gonna fall apart. You got to really think about it from the perspective, the long-term mentality, the long-term perspective. And I shared something on Instagram the other day, which was really about having that long-term mentality when you're going about your daily life. There's a lot of talk about being present, and we should all be really focused on the present moment and maximizing the present moment, because that's all we have. But this long-term mentality is really important, because you can realize that things that you think are significant right now in the day to day are really not going to matter that much in 6 months' time. There's so many little things that we get caught up on. There's so many things that we worry about incessantly, that we lose sleep over, that come 6 months from now, it's just going to be just lost in the breeze. It's going to be a speck of dust in the history of time. Like, who even cares? So I'm not saying that you should not focus on, um, you know, making the best output with what you have and disregarding everything as unimportant. But I'm saying that if you're not stressing about it, you can think clearly and you can find better solutions. If you're not caught in that panic mode, your thoughts are just so much more direct. They're so much more solution oriented. And so if you're able to adopt that mindset when problems come up, you're going to be much better off. All right, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I got to be that guy I didn't realize that I had to be that guy, but sometimes you have to tell people what you want them to do. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. So if you like the episode, show some love. Feel free to share it around. A lot more to come. I got a lot more to share. So we'll talk next week.